Welcome to Gen Z Amigas. I'm so excited that you are all tuning in today. This is a space where we talk about real issues, social, global experiences that are shaping our Generation Z. From creativity to connection and change. And today we are diving into a topic that's, I think, everywhere, and that topic is authenticity. We're constantly being told to be real, be transparent, be true to ourselves and to everything that we do. But in a world that celebrates authenticity, and especially online and digitally, which will be a topic that we will be discussing a lot today, it's worth asking the question, when does being real start to feel performative? And is authenticity still authentic when it's curated? And unpacking this topic with me today are three incredible guests, which I'm so thankful to have on the podcast today, from business to communication to design, and who all belong to a generation that's redefining what it means to be authentic in you could say, a very digital world. So first up, I would like to introduce Anna Capuder, an analyst in group strategy at the Entrepreneurs Group Limited and a member of the Global Shapers Dubai Hub. Anna is passionate about innovation, leadership, purpose-driven work. So welcome, Anna.
Thank you for having me.
And another new guest that we have today is Isra Tirmizi, a product design student at the Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation, an instructor at SpacePoint, and a member of the Global Shapers Dubai Hub. Isra explores how creativity and social impact intersect. So welcome, Isra.
Thank you for having me, Maha. It's an honor to be here.
And finally, we have Lara Fontanella, who has a bachelor in who is doing a bachelor's degree in communication and digital media at IE University, Spain. Lara works focusing on storytelling, digital culture, digital media, and the power of media to shape our identity. So welcome, Lara.
Thank you, Maha. It's good to be back.
And so I would just like to say thank you all for being here, and I'm really, really excited about this conversation. So let's start. I want to open up the floor and ask the question, how do you define authenticity? We talk about being real all the time, and what does that, look like in the real world? So Anna, I want to start with you. You work in a fast-paced innovation spaces. What does authentic leadership look like when ambition and perception are everything in those type of spaces?
Yeah, thank you for this question. So first, I would like to answer what for me authenticity even is, right? For me,
Yes.
that's like being truthful to others, but first to yourself. So knowing what your values are and then using them as a guide, like in the way you just act in this society, the way you make decisions. And then leadership, it's not just a one way kind of a thing, right? Great leaders don't just impose their visions and aspirations, but they need to have a sense of empathy so that they understand also what their team expects from them. So I think it's like different things when you talk about authenticity. I think empathy is an important part of it. And if you were just to focus on the image or perception, then it kind of becomes like an ego thing, and then people lose the sense of motivation and direction. But if you're leading something from genuine vision and purpose, I think that people feel this energy, and they want to be a part of what you're building. So I think when you're truthful, you can kind of communicate what you're going after, and then the right people get on board.
For sure. And I like the term you used about empathy because uh I think that's a crucial part of being authentic. And I wanted to connect that empathy and ask Isra, in design, authenticity often connects to empathy. So how do you tell the difference between, genuine empathy and empathy as more as a performance?
Thank you for the question, Maha. Actually, I feel personally that authenticity and empathy are very different things. They are somewhat interlinked, but they are very different things. If you think about empathy, um, in design, it's really about understanding what people are feeling, okay, and what are their needs. And then you accordingly come up with solutions to tailor those needs. So that's authenticity, on the other hand, is where it's where your empathy comes from, right? So if I'm authentic about something, that means that it's a genuine, purpose-driven idea that I want to bring out to the world. And I really always give this example of someone called Hugh Herr, who designed bionics, so basically leg prosthetics, from the root cause of his friend. Basically, his friend lost his leg during climbing, and his root cause was because of that friend, and it came from a genuine problem that he wanted to solve. That's where you see that the empathy is very authentic, it's very genuine. If you compare it to something that is less genuine, more performative, it would be something like branding. For today, we see that brandings have similar trends. They all promise us very similar things, and how they deliver it is maybe not very authentic. It doesn't come from an authentic root, but it's looking at what people want, which is empathy. So that is two very different things. And to sum up, I would say that authenticity has a lot of positive impact. It comes from a very positive root cause. And that would be my answer to your question.
Thank you, Isra. That's a very, I mean, insightful and interesting story. I like that way that you connected and brought that whole different aspect of design and how it's it can bring about different outcomes, like you said, with branding. And branding also has a lot to do with, now the whole online and digital side of it. And so, Lara, I wanted to bring that to you, the idea of especially us growing up online, our generation grew up online. Do you think the internet has changed what authenticity really means?
I think definitely the internet has completely changed the definition of authenticity, and therefore, as a result, the performance of authenticity, how people practice it in their everyday lives. Because authenticity, in its original definition, is being true to, as we mentioned before, being true to yourself, but both in public and in private life. And to make it a bit more personalized, I also believe that authenticity used to mean having your own beliefs and being okay with like debating it with other people, discussing it, being open to other people's beliefs, but at the same time, not being so easily switchable or not switching just because your favorite, I don't know, celebrity or something like this believes something different to you. Whereas nowadays, because the internet has exposed you to so many more inspirational figures. So, for example, before it was mainly, actresses or celebrities, but now with platforms like YouTube or TikTok, obviously influencers, that whole genre has become a lot more popular. And their content is not authentic. So, therefore, the people that are watching it might have completely different beliefs, but they're going to pretend that they like what their favorite person is liking because authenticity has just not become a thing anymore.
I would
Yes,
like to add to that, if you don't
for
mind.
sure. Go ahead.
I feel like also with the rise of AI, I know how cliche this sounds, but that's true. I mean, for designers as well, and
Yeah.
we're creatives as well, we see a lot of image generation done through AI. It's like most presentations, some of our scripts maybe today as well could be AI generated. So it's really blurring the line between what's really within us, what's really coming and authentically ourselves, and what we're speaking of that comes from AI. So yeah, I feel like maybe AI is becoming our new authentic self, and it's just parts of it that we're grasping. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I love how you added that point about AI because, digital, yes, it has to do with social media and online platforms, but AI is, especially in the business world and education, it's becoming this kind of fight against, trying to still critically be able to think, but also, like you said, Isra, as a designer, there's, this kind of battle with it because you're trying to create, authentic pieces, but AI brings this whole other kind of perspective of authenticity. And so I wanted to kind of move on to the next segment. We've heard some great perspectives. Thank you so much. about what authenticity means to you guys, but what happens when authenticity becomes something we feel expected to show within ourselves? When does being real start to feel like something we're, consciously performing? So, Anna, I wanted to start with you. You've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs often, sell their story. So how do you stay genuine when your personal brand is part of your business?
Yeah, I think you have a great point. Like in entrepreneurship, your story is what sells. It becomes part of your work, part of your brand. And then when you're constantly pitching, it kind of starts to feel like a song on repeat. So it might feel a bit more performative. But I guess like how you can stay genuine is just by telling the truth. I mean, it sounds very simple, but I think that's just the way to go to tackle this. So, you know, if you're telling the truth and you're not just saying what people want to hear, that means you're building something real, and then the story speaks for itself, and that's kind of your brand.
Yeah, that's fascinating how, realness has kind of become the strategy in that way for entrepreneurs. And Isra, I wanted to bring it back to you. You talked about branding, and I've just
Yeah.
mentioned to Anna about branding, and, empathy is central to design, but can caring itself become a kind of branding?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think branding itself is entirely emotional. So when we choose something we want to buy, all our purchases are 100% emotional. That's what our professors always tell us.
For sure, yeah.
So obviously, for us to make an emotional decision, we need to feel cared about, and which is why we're buying something. And to an extent, this may seem like it's negative, but it's actually a positive thing because a user is having a positive impact from it, right? Um, but then when care comes and it creates a negative impact in people's lives, like for example, we have these increasing beauty standards that women are expected to have, and then we end up buying products for our skin that we think is good for us, and that is caring. But the truth is, we know what that's doing to us because from the past few centuries, people have not needed to take care of their skin as much as we're taking care of it now. So, is this really caring? And so to go back to your question, could you please repeat it so I could tie up
Yeah.
my point?
So I was saying how empathy is, central to design, but can caring itself become a kind of branding?
Yes. So to answer your question, yes, caring is branding itself, even as global shapers where we are in. We try to avoid making it all about global shapers and trying to create positive impact, trying to be a part of, especially with DIFC, our financial literacy initiative. I don't know if you've heard of it, the 1 Million Learners Program. We
Yes.
try to make of it like more of impact based and not, and it comes from genuine care, but it comes along with the brand, which is Global Shapers. We are the ones who are doing it. And it's very important because we need to be recognized in that way and recognized for caring so that we can create more impact. So it again comes to the core intention that you have, basically.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's such a powerful point. And let's get a quick take from another perspective, Lara. In digital spaces, do you think algorithms reward authenticity or the performance of authenticity?
That's a really good question. I think it's obvious that the algorithm rewards the performance of authenticity because algorithm at the end of the day doesn't see the person, but it sees the views and the likes and the overall engagement of the video. So what's trending on, especially with platforms like TikTok, like the rise of TikTok, the algorithm has become a lot more detailed and specific and just overall has developed in a way in the past years very fast. And the performance of authenticity has become more of a staple for them rather than, of course, actually being authentic. Because at the end of the day, it is just views and likes and things like that that the algorithm sees, which of course is very unfortunate. There's of course still influencers or people that will always post their views, their opinions, and won't back down. But we can see that these influencers, their views have gone down, their likes have gone down. Sometimes their account even gets banned or things like that, and that really, really just shows how the algorithm just cares about engagement nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's the algorithm is a kind of powerful, it's very powerful when it comes to online, in not just social media, but in any kind of accessibility online, whether it's on Google, whether you're searching
Yeah.
up something like a bag, let's say, and then an advert will come up. And so it really brings in that aspect of, is the question, or is that performance of authenticity. So I wanted to have a quick round mini debate queue. And I wanted to ask the question, and anyone feel free to answer, is performative authenticity always bad, or is it just part of how we adapt to visibility in 2025? Has it become this new norm in a way?
I'll go for it first.
Go ahead.
I think LinkedIn is the best example of performance authenticity right now. There's this pressure to perform in such a way that is also yourself, and you have your own passion and everything. So I see it as something that we have to adapt to in order to be successful in our careers. It has become a part of us, and we can't avoid it. It just depends on how much of it we're going to consume and let it take over us. I feel like I understand this from one experience of mine, which I'm going to tell you. I
Go
was
ahead.
visiting Pakistan Association Dubai a few days ago, and we were looking at children and how we can provide educational workshops for them actually. And I kept telling this instructor who was telling me about this whole welfare system that they have, and amazing. I was like, wow, this is going to be an amazing reach out for global shapers. It's going to be amazing for us to do this. We will get the government to recognize this, and I was really getting excited about that. And then she stopped me in the middle. She was like, can I tell you something? I don't want you to feel bad.
Mm.
This is not about you getting reach outs and all of this. This is about me really caring for the people. And I appreciate that you want this to be, out there. But, I really want something authentic for the kids, for the children. And try to focus on that first. And this, whatever branding you're trying to get along, and performance, performative authenticity you're trying to get will come along the way. It just has to happen. When you do your work, it will be seen. So that's when I realized it's so easy to get tied up to, perform, to be authentic. And yeah, it's because of the fast-paced world we're in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like adding on to your last comment about this fast-paced world, it's this kind of also like competitive nature of trying to get the most, valuable or well-known people to see your authentic actions. And like you said, we lose track of thinking that something that we are doing is actually authentic, and we take a step ahead when we should really revert. And that brings into the point of 2025. It's so fast paced. So Isra, I mean Anna, do you have a opinion on this, or about how performative authenticity, is it always bad, or it's just part of what the world is now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, those two words, like authentic and then kind of performative, kind of feel like they don't fit together. But I
100%.
guess what we're talking about is like when you get like dragged into this game where you have to kind of pose as being like very original or authentic in some way. But I guess it's important to understand, like, okay, let's say in entrepreneurship, right? Like what we discussed earlier is, okay, you might feel like you are acting because you said the same things to so many investors over such a long period of time. So it's just like, you have a script in your head that you're just repeating, but like, what is the actual truth? Like sometimes you might ask yourself, like, okay, now what is the real me? But I guess like, when you're being authentic when you actually get back the energy, you don't have to pretend to be someone else. It's not like energy draining, it's just fulfilling. um, And I mean, how do you sustain authenticity then? Is like by just being close to your true values and then saying no to all of the things that don't align with that. And very random, like story that comes to my mind is I have like a post-it note on my wall which says energy input equals energy output. So it's like the energy you give is the energy you attract. So when you show up for yourself or like the right people, and opportunities will come your way, and you will know that you deserve those because you were honest. It's just like taking or answering your question from a different perspective, perhaps.
Yeah. No, yeah, I love that saying, the energy you put in, the energy you will get out. And I think that's so true in every aspect of life. And that term energy, if being authentic takes so much energy, how do we stay grounded in who we are, without losing that real connection to ourselves? And going on to that question, I want to go into our last segment. And Lara, I want to start with you. How can honesty and storytelling, whether it's online, through videos, through journalism, through any type of way of expressing yourself, coexist in the digital space that, loves this performance? How can that honesty coexist?
I think that it honestly comes down to the people and the power that people can create when we work together as a team. So, for example, like I said, the influencers that still speak their mind and still believe in the idea of authenticity, it's a small percentage, and that small percentage, for example, their profile gets taken down. But if more and more people start to speak on it and start to make it very clear, we don't care about if we get 5 likes or 1 million likes, we don't care about our views, we're gonna say what we want to say because it's our morals and our values. I think that is how honesty and storytelling can coexist in a digital space, is honestly through the power of the people and just a lot of influencers or anyone that has a big enough platform to make a difference, or even actually like not have that big of a platform. As long as there's more than just a tiny percentage, then it can coexist, because at the end of the day, the algorithm will pick up that so many people are doing this and it's getting more and more views, and it'll like so many videos in the past, like it'll start to become kind of a trend to what's your take on authenticity, things like that.
Hmm. And yeah, like great, great, great point, Laura. And I really agree with that part of, the digital space. And Anna, I wanted to turn it to you about, as a leader, how do you keep authenticity, we could say sustainable, staying true to mission, not image?
Um, I guess it comes back to the same question we discussed before, right? Like it's all about honesty, being truthful even when it's difficult, knowing what your genuine purpose is, and then having the team to share that vision. And I think every now and then you kind of need to recharge, like really take time for yourself and rethink, like, okay, who am I? What am I doing? Is it aligned with my goals? What I think is right? And if you are coming from a point of like doing things for perception, I feel like this is just not sustainable on its own.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, currently, like the company I'm part of, uh, I mean, they're doing something incredible. They're building region's first true full service merchant bank, and the CEO behind it is a genuine person. And when he speaks, like when you hear his stories and vision, like people are naturally drawn to that and want to be part of it. So it
Hmm.
just functions and it becomes like a shared vision.
Yeah, it's not about showing everything, it's about showing what's true. I think that's a takeaway that, I mean, I have learned from you, Anna. And Isra, I wanted to ask you, in empathy-based design, which we have spoken about, how do you create boundaries so that empathy doesn't, drain you?
That's a really good question, because empathy sometimes becomes extremely emotional, but the best way is to detach from those emotions try to understand the problem from an objective view, because it will give you the most empathetic solution and emotional solution to it. And it's so ironic to, come and detach your emotions in order to get the most empathetic solution, but that is the best way because it'll give you access to rational thinking and proper solutions because you're coming from a place that is not emotional, but you understand what people need. And I think that is the answer to your question.
Yeah, I like that kind of oxymoron
Yeah.
between taking away your emotional side, which will bring
Emotions.
out your emotional side in a way. I like that. So just one last thing from all of you. Let's keep it short and real. What's one quick reflection from each of you about our discussion today and if it has changed your way, what you really think or truly think authenticity is defined as?
Um,
Whoever's. Yeah, Lara.
I learned something very interesting today through Isra's kind of uh like talk about LinkedIn
Hmm.
because so when you asked if authenticity is good or is it bad, I spoke about TikTok and that authenticity in that platform is bad. And then when I thought about LinkedIn, authenticity in that, I mean, sorry, performance authenticity in that platform can be good because it'll motivate you to like want to work like, oh, she's doing this internship, she's doing that. Even if it is performance authenticity, you're going to get up and you're going to work because of what you saw online. So I think it's really interesting that the definition of authenticity and performance authenticity can vary depending on where, not even which platform, but in real life as well. Like, where is it situated? In what environment? Is it a work environment? Is it a social environment, entertainment, things like that?
Hmm. Yeah, so you could say it's maybe dependable on context,
Yeah, for sure.
authenticity. Yeah.
I,
Did you
I'd
guys?
also like to add, when Anna kept repeating one thing, which was about energy, people feeling that energy from someone who's genuine, and you can just tell because of the way people are around that person, and that's how you know they're authentic. And that really made me like rewind so many instances where things happen like this to proper leaders that I've seen around, and it really makes sense why in that position, why they are in a certain position, is because of their authentic nature and their self. And I think UAE based like everything in the UAE is also based on that, which is
Mhm.
why we're successful as a nation as well.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
And Anna, anything you want to
I
add?
think both of you had amazing points. I guess like a summary of this discussion, like very short takeaway is just like being um, truthful is the way to like reach authenticity, even if it's difficult.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Quick
Yes.
and short. I love that. Uh-huh. So yeah, I think authenticity, I mean, we've heard a lot of different perspective today from you three who come from very different backgrounds. And I think authenticity shouldn't be a performance. It's just something that should come naturally to you. It's like Anna mentioned, it's truth, it's energy, it's something that shouldn't be as much as an effort, but more just in yourself, what you really feel that you want to do, what you want to say, what you want to write. And so I think it's not about being seen, it's about being centered. And I think that's my takeaway. It's about being centered to yourself. So I wanted to wrap up and thank you, Anna, Isra, and Lara, for reminding us that staying real doesn't mean showing everything. It means staying aligned with what's true to you. And to our listeners, what do you define as authenticity? Please leave it in the comments and we would love to know your thoughts. Thank you.